It all comes down to this. In an election year like no other, voting numbers here in North Carolina and across the nation shatter records as people ensure their voices are heard.
We want to get back to living normal. Very important for people to get out and vote.
This is what democracy looks like.
From the State House to the White House, we're following all the major races.
Here in Alamance County, 6 candidates battle for 3 commissioner seats. Plus, how control for North Carolina's House and Senate districts may be determined through races here in the county.
Statewide, it's the race between incumbent Democrat Roy Cooper and Republican Dan Forrest in the race for governor. And the balance of power in the U.S. Senate could come down between incumbent Republican Tom Tillis and Democrat Cal Cunningham.
And in the race for the White House, all eyes are on North Carolina and its 15 electoral votes, as they may be just enough to push Donald Trump or Joe Biden over the 270 mark to win the presidency.
We need a president who's going to bring us together, not pull us apart.
And I have fought for you harder than any president has ever fought.
Tonight, our Maeve Ashbrook is following races in North Carolina with Baylor Rodman breaking down the national contests. And our team in the newsroom and across Alamance County bringing you the latest information. As the country awaits its next direction, it's election night in America. Most polls are closed here in North Carolina and votes are being counted. Welcome to Elon News Network's special coverage of the 2020 election. I'm Brian Ray. Thank you for joining us. The North Carolina Board of Elections extended voting in 4 polling precincts due to delays. This means the board will not release any statewide results until 8:15 tonight. But the Associated Press is projecting that President Trump will win South Carolina. We're now going to check in with Baylor Rodman, who's following the presidential race. Baylor, what other results do we have so far tonight?
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, Brian. Again, I'm Baylor Rodman. I'll be covering the presidential race across all 50 states throughout the evening. And as you said, President Trump has taken the state of South Carolina back to his electoral vote count. We're currently at 22 Trump, 16 Biden, although it's just been at the top of the hour. So within a few moments, I'm sure we'll have a lot of extra races to call for you as well. But we can project that Joe Biden will win the state of Virginia, which is a big one for sure, and Vermont, and also that we can project that President Trump will take Kentucky as well as West Virginia. So currently we're following a lot of historical trends, but nothing certainly out of the ordinary as well. And again, West Virginia for Trump there, Kentucky for Trump as well. Let's head into North Carolina because we're starting to get a few results in there as well. Again, we just got about 1% of the results in, but Donald Trump up there about 68.6%. Again, we just have 1% of the vote in currently so far. So again, not a whole lot to really base this off of. But North Carolina could really come down to the wire. It is one of those states that, with those 15 electoral votes, could put either candidate over the top by the end of the night. Let's go now also to Florida as well, as there's some numbers I want to bring you there. With those 29 electoral votes, with about 78% reporting, it's pretty neck and neck with Joe Biden at 49.9% of the vote and Donald Trump there with 49.2%. We are being told, too, we're seeing in some voter analysis trends that President Trump is outperforming with Hispanic and Cuban American voters, including in the state of Florida and across the country as well. Again, we're getting the latest information in my ear as it comes in, and we're currently with Joe Biden now with 85 electoral votes, with President Trump's 55, so we're going to update our board and get back to you with all of the latest. It's a moving night, but it can take a while to get some of these results, so we'll be back and forth for sure. Brian, right now, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Baylor. We will check back in with you later tonight. We're also following news out of Graham this evening where the Push to the Polls march, led by Reverend Gregory Drumright, who was on our show last night, met counter-protesters earlier this evening. Our Isabella Seaman is over there right now. Isabella, how are things looking?
Yeah, Brian, so today's push to the polls in Graham ended nothing like it did last Saturday. So if you're following our coverage on Saturday, there was a march to the polls led by Reverend Drumright. That day, the march to the polls ended in a pepper fog. Now, that pepper fog was made by the Graham Police Department and the Alamance County Sheriff's Department. Now, the Graham Police Department said they sprayed it on the grounds. However, Reverend Drumright says that is not the case. Now today, Reverend Drumright, along for Justice for the Next Generation, wanted to do a push to the polls. Now in my hands, I'm holding the protocol for the push to the polls. They did things like stay on the sidewalk this time, unlike Saturday. Also, they did not chant at all. When they made it to 2 polling stations, there was over 400 people that walked to the polls. Now, when they made it to downtown Graham, they were met with about 50 counter-protesters. Luckily, there was no physical interaction, just a little bit of verbal interaction. Reverend Drumright said some words, and from there, everyone dispersed. So luckily today, there has been no physical altercation, and everything has ended peacefully. I'll have more about this later in the show, so stay tuned. And Brian, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Isabella. We'll be following this story throughout the evening. And as of right now, more than 4 million ballots have been cast here in North Carolina. That is the pre-election day count. We're still waiting for the current numbers. We'll now hear more about the local races from Maeve Ashbrook. Maeve, what are you following tonight?
Yeah, Brian, we're following lots of local races. And just to give a quick overview, one of those first ones, the Alamance County Commissioners. 6 candidates here, 3 spots, and it doesn't matter which party you are. The 3 candidates with the top 3 votes are going to get those 3 seats. We're also going to be looking at the North Carolina State House of Representatives, District 63 and District 64. Now, even though District 63, does not include Elon University, it does include parts of the town of Elon and spans east into the rest of Alamance County. As far as District 64, that does include the university and goes west into Alamance County, hitting places like Gibsonville. We're also going to be following North Carolina Senate District 24. That's Amy Galey, who's currently the chair of the Alamance County Commissioners, versus J.D. Wooten, who also ran for the seat in 2018 and lost. A little more nationally, we're looking at the U.S. House of Representatives race for North Carolina and a U.S. Senate race. It's really going to be a big deal within the Senate and the balance of that. Now, with over 3.6 million early votes cast and over 900,000 mail-in ballots already received by the North Carolina State Board of Elections, these national races, I took a look at the state of those and how those are going to affect the state of North Carolina. All eyes are on North Carolina tonight as the state is both critical for President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden's path to 270 electoral votes. Recent polling has the Real Clear Politics average, with Biden just 0.3% ahead of Trump. President of Elon College Republicans Alexis Malaguti and President of Elon College Republicans Daniel DeRosiak say the race is just too close to call.
I've tried to hold back on making concrete predictions just to spare myself some maybe disappointment.
I obviously want my candidate to win. I think all of us who have individual political ideologies want their candidate to win, but I'm just excited to see what happens as a result of this.
This isn't the first year North Carolina is a battleground state. Since 2008, the state has gone both blue and red, with candidates narrowly winning North Carolina's 15 electoral votes. Another important race to watch in North Carolina is the U.S. Senate race between incumbent Republican Tom Tillis and Democrat candidate Cal Cunningham.
Not the time to cast doubt on the most reputable organization in the world.
No matter who wins, DeRosiak says he's excited to see where his party goes in the future.
We're the next generation of Republican leadership. So we get to dictate how our party reacts to the Trump presidency, whether he loses in 2020 or if he gets a second term.
But for Malaguti, she says she's hesitant to trust her party after the election, even if Biden wins.
I think it will embolden the DNC to say, hey, look, we won this election without the progressive left or the radical left. Moving forward, we can continue to run moderate candidates and win that way.
Maeve Ashbrook, Elon Local News.
And North Carolina Board of Elections say they expect to count 97% of the vote tonight, and we'll be right back.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
she doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new. Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened? Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me. See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
And welcome back. Today, Elon students could take a shuttle to the polls here in North Carolina. One of our reporters went along for the ride and met one student who was on the way to the poll to vote.
I wanted to go through the Elon Votes program if possible, just because I've worked with them a lot already to try to figure out everything for voter registration in North Carolina. So I was sort of going through with that whole process. Also, I wanted free transportation on Election Day.
And that shuttle stopped at the First Baptist Church of Elon before dropping Taylor Dunphy off at his polling location, Elon Elementary. The shuttles were mostly empty as Elon Votes encouraged students to vote early this year. We're now going to check in with our Margaret Faust, who's over at the Alamance County Board of Elections in Graham. Margaret, how are things looking over there?
Hi, Brian. Nothing really is going on here yet. We haven't seen any cars drive through, turning in their results from their precinct. There are 4 law enforcement officers here behind me. We spoke to a representative from the Board of Elections who said he is not worried about any, violence or unrest from the courthouse drifting over here to the Board of Elections. He thinks that him and all of his workers are going to be safe. So there's not much to report here. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you, Margaret. And we'll check back in with Margaret during our hour-long coverage starting right here at 9 p.m. And in response to election results, the Office of Student Life is offering post-election events for students. Starting tomorrow, November 4th, there will be panels and spaces open for reflection, as well as a health and wellness panel organized by Counseling Services. Elon Councilor Mark Eads told Elon News Network he's noticed both a lot of excitement and anxiety surrounding this election and hopes students utilize the resources available. And there were no classes today for Elon students. Our team spoke with students to see how they spent Election Day.
I'm really trying to bury my head in the sand and not be anxious until we find out the results.
And I did some work, and now I'm gonna go back to my dorm, maybe hammock and just relax and try not to stress about the election.
I voted this morning at 6:30 a.m. I got online super early. And I feel like I've already lived a whole day of events so far, so I've just been relaxing the rest of the day.
I early voted. I mailed it in, and nothing really. Just as our day off to just try to relax before we find out what's happening.
And that's all for our update this hour. Make sure to tune back in with us at 9 p.m. as we continue to follow the results of the 2020 election. We'll see you then.